Is this
That's obviously in response to Stephan saying that he dropped Madeline off at 8:30 next to that church. I feel as though I have a plausible theory as to the level of culpability that Jenn plays in her.
And before we get into that, well, because we're almost at the end of this, I just want you guys to take a look at that picture right there. Look at the girl in the chair, her cousin. She's looking right at either Stefan or Jenn, whoever's talking. These people despise Stefan Stearns. Keep that in mind. Like this is not only not a happy meeting because they it's not a happy meeting because Maddie's just missing. They're not happy, and I'm sure they're suspecting something's going on with Jenn and Stefan. They do not like Stefan. That's why he wasn't at the party. We always suspected this, right? We always suspected this, but we once we started hearing Jen's interview, and they asked her point blank, why was Stefan not at the birthday party? She said because my family didn't like him. They didn't allow him there. He wasn't invited. So this is not a happy meeting right here either. With this guy standing in the middle of the floor, them two talking about Maddie being missing. Yeah, there's an anger vibe there. Very angry vibe. And she's either looking at Jenn or Stefan, whoever's talking. And she's looking at the cops, obviously.
Her daughter Madeline's death. I'll be back with part 2 as soon as possible.
All right, so now you know who that creator is, and we appreciate that. We're going to keep up on those parts, but I do want to get into, because I don't want to cut this that short. This just came out like a day ago or so, and they started breaking down Jenn SOTO's police interview on Court TV. So I wanted to go through that with you guys so we can talk about that. And for the last time, Jenn SOTO does not have immunity. I know a lot of people say, I can't believe Jenn has immunity. She doesn't have immunity. You'll hear it. She only has immunity for that particular meeting, and you'll actually hear him break it down as to what that means. For this time, he says, you can tell us that there's a gun buried in your backyard, and we're not going to arrest you. We're going to go get that and collect it as evidence. You'll hear. I also showed you her lawyer before. He's a pretty good lawyer for criminal defense. Why did she need such a good lawyer for criminal defense when she didn't do anything? Now, I know a lot of people, it's best to get a lawyer, right? If you're involved that closely, whatever, it's always the cops say get a lawyer. But when your daughter's missing and you're trying to solve a case and you're getting a lawyer for the guy that's been abusing her for years and then taking her life ultimately, why do you need such a good criminal defense attorney? Yes, Maddie did beg not to go home. Absolutely. Right. Let's listen to this I'm not going to listen to this for 2 hours, but William J. says, if you need a break to consult with your attorney, that's absolutely fine. And this is where April 18th, 2024, excuse the dogs, he wanted to say hi, starts.
Consult with your attorney, that is absolutely fine. We'll all step out of the room, turn off our recorders, and let you exercise your constitutional right to have counsel. There's no problem with that. There's water fountains here. There's restrooms. I don't know if you're a smoker or not, but if you get desperate, we can make an outside break time, but we are kind of under time constraints. With that all said, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. This is an investigative subpoena, so you've been compelled to be here. And in our country, under the 5th Amendment and 14th Amendment as applied to you under the Florida Constitution as well, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. So anything you say today can't and won't be used against you unless you just don't tell us the truth. And I've already explained to your attorney, Mr. Bark, whether or not you've made any inconsistent statements in the past, that is dirt under the bridge. And either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't, but we're not going to be using that.
And you heard that. We're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements. What you say can and won't be used against you. Now they know she lied a lot in the interviews. They know that she used we. That's like he said, that's no big deal. That's a misdemeanor. Water under the bridge. They saw the interviews. They know that she also used Maddie in past tense. They wrote that in their report. Mom is using daughter's name in the past tense. All right. Now, this is before they knew Mandy was passed away, deceased, had been abused. Maybe they had a sense that Stefan was doing something, but they didn't quite know just yet. So there's a reason for this interview, and it's not to let her off the hook. It's because they want more information from her. They want direct information about the freaking murder, not about the 17 or 1,500 photos, not about all the images, not about any of that. They want to know about the day of the murder. There's not a lot of evidence. There's a body, but there's not a lot of, it's all circumstantial. They're in the house. They see Stefan on the camera. Her mouth is open. They're taking guesses that she's not alive. One point to the other, a backpack thrown out. All still circumstantial, not this huge DNA smoking gun. All right, let's keep going.
That is a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements, because those other charges wouldn't be perjury anyways. So the most important thing today is to tell the truth. I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney's yard, we couldn't go dig up that gun if you told us that, oh yeah, there's the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview. Okay? Do you have any questions? All right, so let's get started.
Before you start, let me just make sure we're clear on the record. I had, off the record, we had discussed our position on the concerns we have. Ms. SOTO was interrogated by law enforcement previously. She was under a tremendous amount of duress and stress, being that her child was missing and then she was informed was found deceased. There's been media hysteria about this. There's been people asking for her to be prosecuted, tarred, feathered, executed. And so with that said, we have the concern that you brought up about if there's something said inconsistent today, not being used against her for filing a false police report.
All right, so for example,
all right, so right there is a big deal, you guys, and I keep seeing it over and over and over in different forums, different comments when it comes out, but Jenn did this, but Jenn said this, but Jenn said we, and we're like picking these things apart. Right here just stops it. For example, if she said something that was false then, or in a statement, or in the officer's statement where she uses the past tense, they don't care about any of that. They just want hard evidence is what they're looking for. Hard evidence for a felony or to tie her to the taking of the life or the abuse of a corpse, something like that. Okay, so you were Bean. What's up, Carol? Good to know. William J. is Sarah Boone, prosecutor. I love it. We do too. And he has a purpose, what he's doing here. So let's keep going. Try to read along with this so you guys can retain this. And then when you go into other forums and someone says, well, what about her saying we? They don't care about that. It's not that they want.
She said something that was false then, and we have no idea that it was false now before this interview, but she comes in and admits that it was false today. We can't use these statements or that admission that it was false against her, just like we couldn't use anything else against her from this interview. Okay.
I want to welcome our guests for this hour, criminal defense attorney Marie Pereira and Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubé. Happy Thanksgiving week to both of you. Thank you for joining me. This case, Madeline SOTO. All
right, we're going to keep going. I don't really care what we've done a lot in this, but I do want to hear portions of this with you guys, just so you guys
I saw the picture of the oral sex happening.
Okay, so she just said, I saw a picture of the oral sex happening. Like, I don't want to hear their theories. I want to hear what I'm saying to you and go over this with you so we can go over it, catch other things. Kawana, you're amazing. Thank you so much for the gift, for the Guilty of Crime membership, and sent 5 more memberships. There's 555 people in chat, y'all. Hit the like button and get a subscription today. We're going to do something really cool for the next members only. So do that. And I'm trying to put out more members only content. And Synth, if you would drop the Patreon down for me, or one of you guys, drop the Patreon. We're populating Patreon a lot more. So I want you guys to check out the Patreon. Go join. Get a free membership over there. What's up, Carrie? Good to see you. All right, let's keep going.
etc. She tells law enforcement that she thinks they have the wrong man. Let's listen to that together.
So we showed you photos of Stephan raping.
No.
First thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer.
No.